Only 2 games remaining in the regular season of the 2024 college football season, and we have really narrowed this playoff field down. Only a handful of teams still with a shot to get in the playoff. We eliminate 6 new teams this week, and like I said, there really are not a whole lot of spots remaining. We learned this week it became pretty clear because of BYU's loss that we're probably not going to see 2 Big 12 teams get in the playoff. Probably not going to see 2 ACC teams get in. So you're looking at more than likely, assuming Notre Dame gets in, you're looking at those other 8 spots being SEC or Big 10 teams. So yeah, if your team's not in right now, if you're needing help to get in, then you want to see like Notre Dame lose. You want to see or a big upset like some of these teams that are in right now could still lose. Alabama could lose to Auburn or Oklahoma. Georgia could lose to Georgia State. I mean, there are upsets out there that could possibly still happen. So, again, we're going to look at the teams that are still in this race. But first, we look at the new eliminations. And there are, again, 6 of them. Kansas State, Louisiana, LSU, Memphis, Navy, and West Virginia. So for Kansas State and West Virginia, they both now have 3 losses in the Big 12. I don't see a 3-loss Big 12 team getting in the conference championship without a lot of chaos, without several upsets here down the stretch. It could happen. It's still mathematically possible. But you look at, BYU and Colorado, they've only got 1 loss. That means both of those teams would have to lose, or one of those teams would have to lose both of their final games just to give you a chance at maybe a tiebreaker. You'd also have to have Iowa State and Arizona State lose another game. So I don't really see a path for a 3-loss team in the Big 12 unless we just get complete chaos. And we'll bring them back from the dead if something crazy happens this week, if BYU and Colorado both lose, or we see some big upsets there at the top. Maybe we bring them back from the dead next week. But right now, I just don't see those teams having a real shot. We've got Louisiana with 2 losses now. They're not going to get in. It's going to be an American or Mountain West champion to take that group of 5 spot. LSU now with 4 losses overall and 3 losses in the SEC. They have no chance of getting in. A 3-loss team's not going to get in the SEC championship. And then you got Memphis and Navy. Memphis didn't lose, but they are actually, I think, eliminated because it's set with Army and Tulane in the American Championship game. So, yeah, Memphis, Navy, they're now gone, and it'll be, let's just go ahead and get right to it here, the group of 5. It's going to be Army or Tulane out of the American. These 2 teams have a shot. And I believe they did say that Tulane had clinched that spot. But if I'm not mistaken, Tulane plays Memphis. So I'm not really sure how that works. I'm not sure why Memphis is eliminated there. Maybe Memphis has 2 conference losses, so that's what it is. Memphis has 2 conference losses, and so that means with Tulane and Army both only having 1 game left, they're undefeated. So even if they both lost, they'd have 1 loss, they would still get in. So those teams are in. Navy and Memphis are out, and very good chance. Well, I wouldn't say very good chance. So if Boise State loses, if they slip up somewhere, then there's a very good chance Army Tulane in the American Championship will be to decide who gets that group of 5 spot. Now, if Boise State wins out, obviously they're in. What if Tulane winds up bouncing back and winning the Mountain West Championship? Who gets in, or excuse me, UNLV? What if UNLV bounces back, wins the Mountain West Championship, maybe in a rematch against Boise State? Then I think Tulane or Army still is good. But what if Tulane loses to Memphis and then they win? So there are a lot of different ways this could go, but it's going to be between those 4 teams, it looks like, unless, I don't know, something really crazy happens. I don't see anything out there that would be crazy enough. I know last week some people talked about Colorado State out of the Mountain West. Can't eliminate them. Well, you might not can eliminate them in the conference race because they are still undefeated in the Mountain West. But they've got 3 losses overall, and that means that they're not going to get in. Unless we saw, like Army and Tulane lose their final games. Tulane would still, they've only got 1 game left, so they would still, even if they lost their final game and then won the conference championship, you like their chances over Colorado State. Now, the one thing going for Colorado State is the fact that 2 of their losses came to Texas and Colorado. So maybe we shouldn't eliminate them if they were to win out. Maybe there's still a way that they could get in with 3 losses, but we'll bring them back from the dead if I see a real possibility of that. We'll bring them back from the dead. Again, it would take Army and Tulane probably losing their final games in the regular season. Both of them doing that, and then of course Colorado State would have to win the Mountain West. Is there a way that it could happen? Sure, maybe, but it seems very unlikely. So Notre Dame, they're here, of course, because they're an independent and they're in control of their own destiny. Win out, they're in. Lose a game, they're out. I think it's that simple. Let's go to the ACC now. SMU and Miami in control. Assuming they win out, they will be in the ACC championship. I mean, if a bunch of results are really weird at the end, is there a chance that Clemson could get to win the tiebreaker over Miami? I don't think so. Maybe there is some way out there that could happen, but I don't think that's going to be the case. Clemson's going to need some help. They need Miami to lose one more game, or SMU lose their final 2 games, which seems highly unlikely, but it could happen. So Clemson still alive, but they need some help. It's crazy that I don't think they'll even be reconsidered for a playoff spot, even if they finish 10-2, if they don't go to the ACC championship. And that is, with a 12-team playoff, a 10-2 team not even really being considered a 10-2 Power 4 team. That's kind of crazy, but that appears to be the way we are headed here with the Clemson Tigers. Let's go to the Big 12 now. BYU, Colorado, they're in control. If they win out, they're in. They don't need any help. Again, with BYU, though, losing, it pretty much eliminates any chance for the Big 12 to get 2 playoff teams in. If BYU wins their final 2 games and they lose a very, very close game to Colorado in the Big 12 championship, is there any chance that they sneak in like they finish number 11 in the rankings? I guess it's possible, but I'd like to see where they're ranked this week to even know if that's a possibility. It's going to take chaos. I mean, it's going to take complete chaos for the Big 12 to get 2 teams in. But we do know, again, that these 2 teams are in control of their own destiny. If they win out, they will be in the college football playoff as the Big 12 champion. Needing some help, Arizona State and Iowa State. So they need some upsets. They need to get into that Big 12 championship game somehow. They need Colorado or BYU to lose. They need to win a tiebreaker there. So different paths for them to get in, but they need help. Definitely need some help to get to that Big 12 championship. The Big 10 picture has not changed at all. All these teams still in control of their own destiny. If they win out, they'll be in. Not in control of their own destiny to necessarily win the Big 10 because Penn State would need help. The other 3 teams are in control there. Penn State, though, is in control of getting in the playoff, and that's what this video is about. If they win out, if they finish 11-1, they will be in the college football playoff. The SEC, you got one team needing help. That's Tennessee. So we're going to go out of order here, actually. Tennessee is the one team that needs help. They are the team. Again, we haven't seen the rankings yet, but assuming they are behind Georgia, they're the team that is potentially going to get left out at 10-2 because, again, a Big 12 team's going to slide in. An ACC champ's going to slide in. Notre Dame is not going to drop behind Tennessee if they win out. There's not enough spots for all these 10-2 SEC teams, so Tennessee needs some help. They don't need a lot of help, but they need one team ahead of them to lose. They need maybe Indiana to get blown out. Maybe that's enough for Indiana to fall behind Tennessee. I think if Indiana plays Ohio State close, it'll be interesting. So that's going to be, I think that's at the end of the day going to be the debate. Assuming Ohio State wins, is how does Indiana lose? How do they play in that game? And then comparing them with their resume against these 2-loss SEC teams, who do you leave out? I mean, that's going to be a very interesting debate. We'll see how it plays out. But Tennessee does need some help. Teams that don't need help, though, in the SEC, right here: Alabama, Georgia, Texas A&M, Texas, and Ole Miss. Texas A&M, they're in control because if they win out, they'll go to the SEC championship. And, of course, they win that game, they'll be in. The other teams are still in control just to get an at-large spot. Texas, also, if they win out, they'll win the SEC. But Ole Miss, Georgia, and Alabama now safely in the field. If they win out, I don't see any way that they don't get in. There's no way a team's going to jump them. So, again, Tennessee's that team that needs some help. Unless the rankings are not what I'm expecting, but I'm expecting Tennessee to be behind these 3 teams. They're the team that's going to need some help. These teams, if they win out, they'll be in. They don't need any help from anybody. So that's the updated playoff picture heading into Week 13. Give me your thoughts down in the comments below.